Mhm.
Why do I have a tendency to shut down and not talk about the things that are bothering me?
There could be many reasons why each person shuts down and doesn't talk about the things that are bothering them. Probably people around us too, or your husband maybe is making you feel that there is something wrong with you, but go within and see that there is nothing wrong with you, even if others tell you there's something wrong with you. This particular beautiful lady she's saying, when I was younger, I was bullied a lot, and when I did tell an adult, nothing was done. I want to come back to just that. So I just figured no one wanted to listen to me or my pain. I even stopped talking for 2 years because of it. Now that I'm an adult, I still feel that way. My husband gets frustrated because if we get into an argument, I shut down because when I try to express how I'm feeling, I feel as though I'm not heard. How, if there's a way, can I fix that? Such a powerful question, and we thank you for this beautiful, vulnerable, open question. I read the whole thing because it does help us see why we shut down. So to me, in my psychotherapy mind and the trauma work that I've done with clients, what's standing out for me is the when I did tell an adult about the bullying, nothing was done. So the nothing was done. We know in research, the big names that are researching trauma, Dane Siegel, and a lot of different individuals like that, they know that the trauma isn't so much caused by the event necessarily of being bullied in this example. The trauma really settles in because of the nothing was done. Because that's the sense of I'm not being seen, I don't matter. My experience with bullying is really not validated. I don't have a support system to go to protect me. Therefore, the world isn't safe. Therefore, I'm all alone. It can trickle down into many different areas. That neglect piece when it comes to our emotions and our experiences is really more traumatic than big traumatic experiences. And we've seen that in research when they followed individuals who've had, say, sexual abuse, and they both had similar sexual abuse experiences. One told their mom, for example, and mom was like, "You're crazy. Your uncle would never do this. Please don't talk to anyone about this. This is embarrassing our family." And then the other individual told their mom, and their mom hugged them, loved them, cried with them, took all the things that the measures that they needed to take so that they feel validated and loved. The trajectory that each of those individuals will have is quite different, meaning they have more resilience, their threshold for stress and anxiety is different, they're able to see the world differently, they don't end up in such dysfunctional relationships, on and on and on, many different things that we notice. So it wasn't the event as much, it was the after. I'm not saying here, obviously, I took it to a level of big severe trauma, but this could have been traumatic. Being bullied can be one of the ways we experience quite a bit of trauma. And trauma, what it does to our bodies and our nervous system is it tells us to shut down, especially when we experience that in a young age. It tells us to freeze. So we have fight, flight, freeze response. Fighting the bully isn't possible. Fleeing the bully isn't possible, right? Because you were bullied. It happened, you couldn't flee. Freezing, shutting down is the only available response for a child. If mom or dad or whoever caretaker isn't there to allow for a different response other than fight or flight or freeze, we get stuck in freeze. So freeze response could show up as emotional shutdown, which is it's not safe for me to express my feelings. So with my husband, that I want to tell him how I'm feeling, but I feel I'm not heard, I shut down. Why? Because that feels safe. And because I don't want to fight him in the argument, he's probably going to win, so why fight? I don't want to flee, or if I flee, how long can I flee? He's my husband. I'll just shut down. Never mind. It's easier. It's safer. I've done it all my life. I'll just won't express myself. No, just don't worry. I would just not express myself until it gets to a point where it's like, is there something I can do? And we'll talk about what to do, but I want to hear what's percolating for you, what you're thinking.
I was just kind of reflecting upon my own journey in this. I have employed those same tactics in my life. I didn't recognize it. It took me a really long time to recognize how avoidant I was of expressing myself and feeling safe in expressing myself.
Mhm.
It actually took help from you, Lida,
Mhm.
and recognizing and like pinpointing those old traumas that I really had no idea the two were attached. I had no idea that they correlated with one another,
Mhm.
and but it took an outside perspective
It
to
does.
help me. And it's like while the answers came up, I needed that extra. I needed the validation that I wasn't just being too sensitive or
Right.
holding on to old hurts when people
Mm.
tell you, "Oh, just let it go, let it go." And it's like,
Yeah.
but I can't let it go. I don't know how to let it go. Sure, I'd love to. How
Mm.
do I do that? Which, with great work that we've done together, I've been able to overcome many of those things, and my avoidancy habits, they're not there anymore. They've gone, and it was pretty easy how they left. I mean, it took work to get there, but
Yeah.
once I figured it out, once I figured out the formula, once I had your help, I was able to get past them rather quickly. And now I'm able to even better recognize when other things come up. And I can
Yeah.
say, oh, what does that link to? Uh-huh. Oh, that's what that is. Okay. That was me talking to my heart right there. And then I can practice what I learned in clearing trauma.
Yes.
So yes, I've definitely been there. I've been that avoidant person who didn't think they had the right to be heard, the right to
Yes.
express emotions, to feel as though they've been rejected or hurt, and that I should just get over it. It doesn't work. You can't just get over it.
Yeah.
And
Oh, so good. And thank you for sharing about you and your journey. And I so appreciate you and all the commitment to this work that you've had, and relatively fast and easy how
yeah,
you have really integrated things, and which is the truth, when it doesn't have to be a long years of therapy. And that's coming to you guys from a psychotherapist that I've worked with clients for 5 years on the same issue. Because I didn't, at the time that I was practicing, I didn't know there were other ways, and I was following the very traditional psychotherapy model that has some limitations. So I just want to, I don't want to say anything negative about it, because I use a lot of the psychotherapy and psychology techniques, but doesn't have to be this long, many years of working on my trauma. It doesn't have to be that. It could be done faster in
uh,
quantum time, and the healing can happen a lot faster when we use modalities that support us, and when we use the understanding of how energy really works and how trauma really works as energy that has been in the nervous system. When we can understand the nervous system, the vagus nerve, which is a conversation that we'll have at a different time, um, things can happen a lot faster.
I felt like they really did, actually. I mean, if we could probably just count it on 2 of our hands how quickly that happened,
Mhm.
um, in my work with you, and I had those had been long-standing things.
Yeah.
I'm into my 30s, those things have been around a long time, and I really thought maybe it's just something you had to live with. I had to live with,
Mhm.
and, I didn't think it had a bearing on how I was showing up in the world,
Mhm.
like, "Oh, who cares? That happened." There's so many worse things that happen to people all the time, but there's really no degree of severity when it comes to feeling your feelings. Like, you feel how you feel, and it's not based on somebody else's experience and
Yeah.
how bad it is for them or good. It's how you're feeling and honoring that. And, yeah, I'm so happy that we were able to do that work together. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be here right now. And I
Yeah.
kind of realized I'm an empath. Having the support of another empath, I think, was actually really
Mm.
one of the biggest, gold stars on that chart of, success in this is that I'm talking to somebody who understands the empath process
Mhm.
and the internalization process of an empath, I think is highly, highly needed when
Yes.
you're overcoming these things.
You Thank you, and you're making so many good points. The part of us that's like, "Oh, I just have to live with that. So what? Other people live with worse things. Other people have lost, like their parents. They've been in the Holocaust. They've been in, wars. They've been in an accident." Like we make these rationalizations, yet each one of us have had experiences that they're big for us, and it is okay to acknowledge that, to speak about that to people who can understand. And while we do say go within and heal yourself, at the same time we need help. I could not have gotten to where I am just by going within. In one ideal world, we just go straight to source, straight to the universe, and all the healing happens. But we need each other.
It's true. You can't solve a math problem without a formula, right? You have to know how to work the
Yeah.
math problem in order to get to that answer. And
Yeah.
someone has to show you that formula.
Yeah. And having a mentor and having the formula and having the steps is important. So we want to keep having these conversations. We want to invite people in the things we have coming up. We're going to put links below. We're going to support people in whatever way is doable. One thing I want to say is, in the how can I fix that? I really want to address that before we move on to the last question for the day. Um, in that shutting down that she's experiencing when she is about to express her feelings, when she's about to stand her ground, when she's about to speak up, how can I fix that? The question, how can I fix that, is almost the tricky part of it, is that we don't need to fix it. Because when we approach is approach this as I need to fix it, it means there's something wrong with me. So if the first premise can be there's nothing wrong with you, you're just observing a behavior of shutting down that could be linked to the bullying that happened and the trauma and everything that we've been talking about. And there's nothing wrong with you. It's a behavior of shutting down that has protected you for years upon years. I don't know how old you are now, but it's been protecting you, it's been serving you, and you can thank it. You can say, thank you, shutting down. I see you shutting down. And where do I want to go next? Do I want to keep shutting down? Yeah. Okay, I'll keep shutting down. Do I want to be more powerful and speak my truth? Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. Right. So instead of how to fix it, let's turn it into there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing to fix. And where do you want to go next?
I love that question. That's a good framing of it, because there is nothing wrong with you. I think empaths often think there is something wrong with them. I mean, that's very common to feel like something is wrong with you. So having that support, that validation, and feeling feeling loved in that moment of being imperfect is truly a gift. We'll call that the gift.
That's a gift. It's loving the part of you that is shutting down. It's not all of you. It's a part of you. It's a younger part of you. It's the
Mhm,
inner child
mhm,
that is shutting down to protect you, and probably people around us too. Or your husband maybe is making you feel that there is something wrong with you, but go within and see that there is nothing wrong with you, even if others tell you there's something wrong with you. There isn't. It's just a matter of loving that part of you that all it knows is to shut down and then redirect it.